This is the block, fam. Nobody fucks with the block. Do you get me? The B-L-O-C-K.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Underrated Podcast. We are the Undercast Company, and today we're going to be talking about Attack the Block, 2011 film directed by Joe Cornish, starring John Boyega, Jodi, Whittaker, and Nick Frost. And we're your hosts. I'm Alan. We have Ariel.
Hey.
Fred.
What's good?
And Derek.
Yo.
So, yeah. What do you guys think? Or who wants to go first? Oh, first off, sorry, my bad. Oh, no, sorry, I kind of spaced out for a second. Also, the film, what it's about.
There you go.
Yeah,
I
literally just jumped
which is okay, because I was just gonna be like, yo, fuck it, let's do this. Let's just go straight deep in.
Yeah, let's just not say, hey, just go watch it. Don't worry about it.
Just go watch it, and if you watched it, then maybe you would know what we're talking about. How about them apples?
There you go. Why
the podcast is
didn't you
changing.
get the memo?
Why aren't you guys following along?
No, but yeah, pretty much this movie is about a couple of British kids, Guy Fawkes night. They run into pretty much aliens, and these aliens come down and attack their apartment complex, and it's pretty much up to them to pretty much save their apartment complex and the world maybe from these like black gorilla motherfuckers. So yeah, Ariel, you were gonna go ahead. What do you think?
I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was. I love John Boyega, of course, from the Star Wars movies. I did know of this film after Star Wars, but never got around to watching it until now. I know the actor Franz, I think is Asm, that plays Dennis. He played Max Jefferson, the second Firestorm in Arrowverse and Legends of Tomorrow. I knew he was in this, and yeah, it's of course like a very representative movie of the time right now, because of the whole social inequality of people of that that would live in that kind of complex, and like of the discrimination of black people, but also just people who are poor and stuck in this like basically developed housing. Yeah, it's like an interesting twist on that, and to take these characters that at first you're like, oh, they're assholes, these kids that just are thieves and just doing that and doing all these like crimes and stuff, but then you get to like realize like where they're from and like why they do this stuff, and then how it's just like, yeah, it kind of comes down to like, no, this is just the way of life. You just like you get excited for becoming a drug dealer basically, because that means that you're gonna get money. Yeah, and it's filled with some pretty awesome characters besides the boys. The boys themselves are pretty, like, unique in all their ways. You have like the leader, John Boyega's character, Moses, literally leading his people. Yeah, literally leading his people to hopefully a promised land. And then you have, Dennis, who's kind of like the sidekick lieutenant. Then you have one of them was like kind of nerd-esque with the glasses, and you have the kind of lady trying to be a ladies' man with pest and stuff. Yeah, so besides those characters, like Nick Frost, of course, is always just being there is an awesome character. He can I've never seen him in a role that's like has some kind of like thing to it. And then also character of the white like weed smoker, whatever,
the stoner dude.
He just gets,
the stoner
caught
dude
up in all of it.
Yeah, and he's just like comes from he's basically like a trust fund kid who is just there because he's a stoner.
He
Goes
has
to
money
uni.
to buy weed. He's like, fuck it.
Yeah, he goes to uni. I like that whole. There was this like exchange with him and Nick Frost of like, I spend, it's like half my rent and stuff like that. And then he's like, you pay rent? He's like, oh, it's not literally kind of thing. It's metaphorical.
Yeah, put food on the table, well, metaphorically speaking. Like I was fucking dying in that part.
Yeah. And then of course, like I had a little bit of a surprise of Jodi Whittaker, who is current Doctor Who.
Derek's favorite.
I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
It's Jodi Whittaker. So yeah, it was pretty fun, and it does take it, even though like it's under the surface. You could definitely delve into like all these deep storylines and motifs that are very relevant for today.
Yeah, no.
And then it's just awesome that basically John Boyega, like with recent events with the Black Lives Matter movement, he's kind of like embodied his character Moses, kind of like when he went out to help the protesters and stuff like that. He kind of like dressed like Moses. I was like, yeah, basically embodied that character.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with all the stuff you're saying about like it being, feeling like a particularly relevant movie right now, because especially since like science fiction tends to like, this is a very unique science fiction movie. Like a lot, I can't think of any other science fiction movie like this where it's like, oh yeah, like aliens are coming down and it's just like, it's a mainly black cast and it's just like protecting like, you said some like low income housing, and it's just like their block. They're just like, okay, we're here protecting our block. And it's, not like this crazy big heady sci-fi stuff. It's kind of like almost reminiscent of maybe some like 80s stuff like The Thing, where it's just like there's just this thing coming to kill us. We like to get a little bit of info about it. We don't know too much about it, and we're just gonna protect ourselves and like protect our own. And I really really enjoyed it on a lot of levels. I love anytime that you take kind of a genre and just flip it on its head and do something very unconventional that you don't see a lot in the genre, and mash up things from other types of movies in a genre that doesn't usually see those. And that's what I loved about Attack the Block. I also really liked the creatures themselves. They were just like these just like impossibly just like dark things with just like these glowing neon green teeth. And I love that, like, when they put their hands on it, it was just like almost like getting sucked. Like it was, you could barely even see the hand because it was just so black, this fur and everything. But overall, just a really good, just fun kind of like movie that has some like deeper running themes in it. If you like, especially if you're watching it at a time like now, you will pick up on a lot of those things because it doesn't hit you over the head with it. It doesn't feel like it's like, hey, pay attention to this. But it's, if you are paying attention, you will notice a lot of those deeper themes. And I like the subtlety that it addresses these deeper issues with.
And it kind of like the imagery of even like and them making note of like the creatures being like black, like, and like just like not even there black, like void black, and it's kind of like that a twist on literal black on black crime. I just took it that way.
Yeah, and then John Boyega, he has that whole speech where he's just like, oh, like the government sent in drugs and they sent in guns, and it's like black people weren't killing each other fast enough, so they like sent these things in. So it was definitely a commentary on like systematic racism and what kind of creates these things. It was another subtle thing, but it's definitely there.
Yeah. I mean, this the characters themselves, though, besides that, like the deepness of it, just the characters themselves were enjoyable. Like these kids, all I found them like all pretty funny. Like even like the two little kids, like what were they? Mayhem and Prob.
Oh yeah,
Probs and Mayhem. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And then just the kid in the. There was a good amount of like, well, not a good amount, but there were like a couple of jump scares for me. I'm just a very jumpy person. Like in the scene with the trash can when he like lifts it up and you're like, okay, is it clear? It's not. I was like thinking it's not clear. It's not clear. Something's coming. he's coming, and then like a jump. Yeah, I liked it.
No, I jumped at that too as well. Like rewatching, I was like, oh shit, I forgot that it's kind of horror as well. But go ahead, Fred.
Yeah, no, I thought the movie was cool. It was a good movie, but it reminds me of kind of like those Japanese like ghetto kind of movies. Like the monster was cool, like it looked good for the budget. Come on, you have a lot of them, and it looks good. But yeah, it gave me that like kind of like what do you say, like a B style movie, kind of like a little Japanese gory kind of style of the movie where it's a little bit more gritty, not like fully polished. The one thing I couldn't believe was that he was 15. They tried to make John Boyega 15. I was like, come on, what
Although
the fuck?
I think he was like 17 or 18 when he
Yeah,
shot this
well, no,
movie.
see, but that's what I thought. I thought he was like the older of the younger crew. Where I was like, oh, this guy's probably like maybe like 17, 18, and he's got the younger guys. But then they're like, he's 15. I was like, well, he looks a little bit older than that. Now, I'm not saying he was an old man. I'm just saying like, I was like, yeah, like if he was like 17, you told me he was 17 or 18. I know it's not much from 15, but I think I could have believed him more and been like, okay, I can see it. He's an older, because it seemed like they wanted to transition him into like selling drugs and doing that stuff. So that's why I was like, maybe he's a little bit older. Maybe they're trying to do that stuff. I mean, it's cool, you see it. They're little hoodlums trying to, steal shit in the beginning, and they're thinking that they're protecting their block and stuff. It's kind of like that whole gangster mentality, living in the hood, and that they're protecting their hood and they're protecting their block. Just like when they told her, like, oh, if we knew you lived with us, like, we would have never mugged you. That's just. But that's just the whole idea of like, oh no, we protect our block, we protect our street. We don't do it to our own people, but anybody else is fair game. So, there's a little bit of that, and I mean, it's a little bit of a redemption arc, from being complete, thieves to changing to trying to be heroes at the end. You get a little bit of that. It's not too bad. I think it was how can I put it? Like it was the right amount of time I think I felt for the movie. Like an hour and a half was perfect, but I do feel like I don't know. Maybe I wanted to see a little bit more of like John Boyega, and I don't know, like because I was telling Alan earlier, like I feel like there's some characters that I want to see a little bit more of, but because there were so many of the kids and they all had so many different personalities, you kind of wanted to see a little bit more of each kid. But I understand that you got to kind of roll through it. But some of them were good. You kind of want to see a little bit more from them pop out. I thought it was crazy that Firestorm got his head chopped off. That was kind of cool.
No, not chopped off, like popped off.
Yeah,
it was like when that happened, I was like, oh my gosh.
But that's why I was saying that it reminds me of those Japanese gory movies when the head came off with a helmet. Yeah, even I was like, oh yeah, you would see that. Because there's just some blood that the head pops off, and I was like, okay, that's why I said like I felt like it was an American version of those style of horror movies where there's still a story in it.
Well, British version.
Yeah,
well, that's what I meant. Like, sorry, I mean British. Yeah, the British version of the Japanese kind of gory horror movies that we used to watch back in the day, Alan.
Yeah,
it's where I got a little bit of that feeling. Like, yeah, there's humor in it, and yeah, there's that stuff, but it really gave me that vibe. I mean, I like watching those movies, so like it was easy to watch this. But I will say though, an hour and a half was a nice sweet spot for the movie.
Yeah, it was a good, quick, crisp movie.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be.
I got to the point. I got it to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, with the name of Attack the Block, it is very much that kind of style of movie, and I wouldn't be surprised if they were influenced by those kind of like Japanese movies. I don't know. It's just like the word attack is kind of like, I guess because of Attack on Titan, and then like their things.
I mean, it could make you think that. I mean, I do get why they called it Attack the Block, because it's their block and they're getting attacked on
it's
their block.
getting attacked. Yeah, but I mean,
it's a very literal like.
Which Japanese like movies like these kind of tend to be like, attack.
Like it reminds me more of like 80s American movies, like movies that are just like The Thing. This is The Thing, or like John Carpenter, like creature flicks. Like they're just shit's coming for you. You just gotta, and it's just like it's not, or like the thing we used to be called The Thing from Outer Space. It just fucking tells you all you need to know right there.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. It came from space.
Yeah, or Predator. Like, what is this? It's this thing. Like, you just see there's this thing you don't know, and at least in the first Predator, like anything about the Predator society, it's just this thing that comes down, hunts people. It's fucking killing these dudes. They gotta fight and they gotta get out. And very similar. I felt like in this movie, and those are a lot of my favorite kind of sci-fi movies / horror movies where they just gotta like survive, and you don't need all these. I love world building and shit like that, but you don't always need it in like a quick little movie like this. I think it's really effective.
No, yeah, I agree too with that. Like, I mean, the big reason why I picked this one because when it came out, it was kind of, I mean, it was kind of like a cult film. I remember it kind of dropped, and like I think a lot of people had to like download it online to watch it, and it kind of got this cult following, and a lot of people liked it because they're like, oh, it's kind of like The Thing, or like even like those Japanese horror movies. I feel like it was kind of like an amalgamation of like all these different kinds of films, and like they kind of just put it in a blender, and we're like, boom, there you go, Attack the Block kind of thing. And I mean, for me, what I really dug about it was it's kind of the proto Stranger Things kind of Annie Muschietti like It films, like all the child characters are like they seem real. That was one big thing. Like all the teens, like they're making references to, like video games and anime, which that really kind of like blew my mind. That like
FIFA and Naruto.
Yeah,
Naruto.
I was like, this is like my friends back in the day. We'd be like, oh, let's go play some FIFA, like all that shit.
Mm-hmm. Go back home and watch Naruto, and like that I was like, when I heard that, I was like, yeah, because at the time, like 2011, I remember Naruto got like big when I was like in high school, and then even after that, it continued until like Shippuden, and I didn't really watch it that much, but I know Fred and some people that we know did.
It's still continued on right now. It's still going on.
Mm-hmm. With Boruto.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was cool. Like I was like, that's pretty sick. Like you don't really get that often, and like I really enjoyed all the kids and their dynamic with each other, because it just seems real, just like in Stranger Things, where like they're talking shit to each other and they're just hanging out, and like the It films where they just cursed and said whatever, like, because I'm like, we all did that too when we were kids. We all said stupid shit. We all referenced all our favorite things. I mean, even to this day, I still make references to animes and films and video games when we're playing online. But yeah, I'll go ahead, Ariel.
No, I just reminded me. I love the moment of like Pest of like, Mom, you like cuss so much and stuff. You say the F word so much and stuff. Mom, you say fuck so much and stuff.
Yeah, and like
just there's all these like little moments like that one that just got me, and then there was just another one that I thought of, but I can't remember. It'll come back to me.
Definitely the tone too. Like I kind of feel like at first when you start watching, you're kind of like, all right, seems like it's gonna be kind of goofy, funny, and then just like as soon as the aliens or whatever, the black werewolf looking things come out and like they kill the two cops, like you could just immediately feel like, oh shit, this is real. Like when Moses is in the cop car with Jodi Whittaker's character, like it just hits you like, oh okay, this is happening. Like you can feel this like tonal shift, just like those like The Thing or something like that, where you're getting to know the characters and you're kind of seeing the themes throughout, and then just out of nowhere you're like, oh shit, all right, this is happening. But and then also Doug too, like the whole thing, like Derek said, with like as much as I love world building a lot, I kind of like just a one-off adventure kind of thing. Like they don't even explain exactly what it is, or like maybe it is a government conspiracy alien thing.
Well, they pretty much
they explain that it's the
they,
female and then the male kind of like
hormones.
mating.
But
you don't know why they're at Earth. Like, was it random?
Well, the way the guy explains it is, they probably just floated through. They follow the female hormones, and that's where the planet they land. Then they take over. They give you the gist of kind of what it is.
I mean, that's a theory. You don't. I mean, that's
it's still
like,
a theory because that guy was high as fuck, and like he was like.
But I mean, what I'm saying is like it's a pretty solid theory when he drops it.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty good.
Because he went to uni. Well, because he went to the university and studied like that stuff. So. I mean, it's a pretty solid theory, and I went with it. I was like, fuck it, it makes sense.
Yeah, but that's just one little thing. It's not like a whole, like, oh, we've got their plans, and they're coming and doing this, It's just like, oh, these guys, he showed up, Why did the female come? Was she just here by chance? Was, part of
that's what I'm saying. Like, they give you a pretty solid, like, here you go, boom, this is what it could be. And it's believable enough that you go, All right, let's go.
Yeah, like
Yeah, just
I mean,
from what I saw, it was like it seemed they were just very animalistic, basic instinct kind of creatures, and
Mhm.
just like female fell here, and
I mean, it's a pretty.
yeah,
I mean, it's a pretty linear story to
kind of like
follow. The alien
Yeah.
yeah,
fell,
oh yeah, it's
he
easy
kills
to
an
follow.
alien, and
There
then you
are-
realize.
I think with the linear one-off, I think they, especially with John Boyega's like being in the news, kind of like it's kind of popped up a discussion of possibly like another Attack the Block sequel coming around or something.
I heard about that too.
Yeah. But not everything needs to be like Independence Day resurgence, where they're like they've been planning this attack for 50 years, and this is how they operate, and they've got these ships, and we it's just very. Simple.
I think it's it would be very simple.
Okay,
This,
how would you
was
guys? How do
very
you guys
simple.
feel like a sequel to Attack the Block? Like, I think it's a good as a one-off movie.
Yeah, I don't need to see.
But
It is,
I don't
yeah.
need to see a sequel, because if you're gonna bring a sequel, then you really have to do like the Independence Day.
You
You
have
better
to
tell some
explain
story.
all that
Yeah,
stuff.
why the fuck? Or are you gonna watch the same movie over again? Like, new set of aliens, same aliens are still alive. I mean, you know what? Then you really got to bring an explanation in, because if not, then as a one-off, it makes sense. You just go, the aliens fell from somewhere, and they probably smell you, and you go, yeah, believable. Okay, cool, and it ends, and you go, great. But if you're gonna make a sequel, now you really got to put some exposition on it, because
word build,
you can't-
world build.
yeah, because you can't just come with the same simple explanation, think it's gonna work for a second time, because then you're pretty much just rehashing the same movie.
Yeah, I mean that's why Predator
Exactly.
2. That's why there's no other good Predator movies except for Predator 1.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean that, but the
Predator versus Alien.
Alien versus
Okay.
Predator, it's all right.
Oh, it's bad.
I mean, the unrated version's good.
Yeah.
Requiem is pretty
Oof.
bad, but I mean, no, Requiem's not bad. It's dark. Like you can't see anything. Not like tonal dark. Like I remember watching in theaters, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like
you
I
need
just
to
couldn't
turn up
see
the
anything.
brightness on this.
Yeah, I was like,
You're like,
hey,
can we get a little bit of contrast?
But no, but like, yeah, I mean that's kind of why like the original Predator is so successful, and like Alien as well. I mean, Aliens is pretty fucking good too. But I mean, that's the beauty about what the Attack. I was gonna say Attack on Titan. Attack the Block is that yeah, you get that theory, but it's still a mystery. It's still kind of like with the Thing where it's like or Alien. It's well, no, they explained an Alien later on, but the Thing is just kind of like we don't know where the fuck came from. It came from space, and it killed a bunch of people, and we still don't know why it's here or what's its plot. So that kind of gives more of a it makes the alien a little bit more scary as well. So you're like, yeah, there's a theory that might make people feel comfortable, but I also like the idea that isn't the absolute answer at the end of the day. There can be a bigger plot, which may go down the line for a sequel to explain more, but I just really like the one-off kind of one film, and that's
I'll be
it.
honest. I'd be happy with one film, and that's it.
Mhm.
Yeah, seeing it now, I do feel like it's perfect one-off.
Yeah.
It's simple. It's a simple idea, and it doesn't really call for something like too overcomplicated. It's not like a John Wick movie where it's kind of like like the first movie is pretty simple, straightforward, but there are these like underlining things that have been eventually world built up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just want to make a note of some appreciations I want to give of this movie. First off, is were the monsters practical effects? Basically, they seem practical effect. It
I
seemed
think
like a
That first one they killed.
I think both. I think a bit of both because like it was. I think it had a low budget. That's why it's mainly in the apartment complex. But I remember like this because there. I think they explain. I think them saying that they're so dark, so black. I think that was kind of a way of like they can use CGI, where it doesn't look obviously CGI. It's just they're that black, where you're like, holy crap! It's like looking into a black hole or something.
It's
But-
like,
yeah.
have you
So
ever
they
seen that
probably
True
like
Black?
green screen. Yeah, they probably like green screen the monster and then applied the black. But I think the blue teeth were practical at least, and then but it just like the simpleness of the monster's design, but kind of like also giving that element of like creating a monster that you could fear, especially in the dark, like that scene where they had turned on the lights, but then they went off and it was like all smoke and stuff, just that complete darkness and that kind of element. I think it was a very like very, monster design for how simple it was. And I also wanted to bring some appreciation to the use of fireworks in this movie by the kids, because they just like brilliantly use these fireworks throughout the whole movie. Well, they use like bottle rockets, they use bangers, they use that like multi-pack fireworks that got stuck underneath the cop van.
The super soaker with gasoline, that was fucking
that was smart. That was, I'll be honest, that was like the best part of the whole fucking movie was those kids like showing up and being like, everybody just clowning on them like, oh, this is all fake, this is all bullshit, and the kids are like, no, gasoline and the firework. I was like, dude, these guys are the coolest ones of the whole fucking movie. Fuck everybody else, dude.
Well, they gained their names.
You want to be called mayhem, you can't be a fucking pussy. Let's refresh it up.
On a freaking scooter. Those fucking kids.
Yeah, it was definitely like, you could tell it's like one of those low budget movies where they really made like some smart decisions and made every dollar count, because it was one of those movies like it did all right in the UK. I think it barely showed in the US, like Alan was saying. Like, I looked it up earlier and it was like only playing in like 60 theaters or something at its peak, and it like they really just, the cast other than Nick Frost, well, like they got some really good people who like went on to do big things, but at the time both John Boyega and Jodi Whittaker were just nobodies from the street pretty much. And they used what they had and really made every dollar count, made these really scary monsters that were very simple, just like dark and terrifying. And yeah, I think this is the kind of the great like low budget, either 80s American movies or like the low budget Japanese movies, like Fred had mentioned, that like.
I'm gonna be real though. I know you guys keep saying scary, but like I was not once frightened by these monsters at all.
And for me, I love their design. But
I like their design. No, I like their design, but I never thought they were like scary. I was just like, they look cool.
It was mostly like the jump scares.
I am easily scared. I wasn't scared of like the monsters per se, but there were the jump scares. But no, I was just saying of like the kind of like the creepiness, or I don't know, of like
they look,
just the design.
Overall, the design. They look like big bears, or like hairy monkeys, like big bears.
Yeah, like big hairy gorillas. Like what I like too though is like, I think though because it felt like they were really trying to go more to like the sci-fi route. Like,
yeah, they were.
I don't think they really wanted to scare you, but I think if they had more of a horror element to, I mean, there's a little horror, but like if they were like, we're gonna go full blown like The Thing and aliens and stuff.
Yeah, I think that would have been. Yeah,
that would have been like holy shit. But no, because like I felt like the design was just cool, because like there's times where it looks like eyes are looking at you.
Yeah.
So like if they had made like claustrophobic scenes of the aliens in like a hallway and it's all dark and you just see the eyes, I think it'd be
that would have been cool. Yeah,
that would have been super creepy and cool. But even then, it's still cool because you're like, are they looking?
No. I'm not even throwing that out. I was just saying like I just wanted to throw my 2 cents that I didn't really think that they were too like. Because there's like the alien, like when you see the alien and it pops its mouth out, you go, this is truly like a terrifying animal. Yeah, like this is a truly terrifying alien. I mean, the jump scares were. I mean, I don't normally get scared with jump scares, but I can see why you would think like, oh, they can be scary, but they are not scary, is what I want to say. Like I think more for like I just want to say for like people that are going to jump into the movie and they might be like, oh shit, I don't like to see too much of a frightening looking thing. No. They're not the scariest looking things, but they do cause you some like jump scares and things like that. But the things itself are actually they're not that bad to look at. They're pretty cool to look at.
I think like the simplicity of it is kind of like, like I think that this, like the more you try to like make something like this is going to be a scary thing, the harder it is. And if you just make something simple, like you don't need to, like it's just like this is just basically a black furry bob with these teeth. And that's simple, and that just can be enough. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Like Michael Myers, like
no,
yeah,
that's
exactly.
I'm not saying that they're bad. I'm just all I was saying is like they're not as like they're not as terrifying as aliens. Well, that's the only thing I was saying.
But like Jason, like inherently, like nothing's scary about Jason or Michael Myers.
He's not.
That blankness, and it's the same thing here.
Yeah, they're the same thing with them. It's the jump scares. It's you're running away from them, and then you turn around and they're on the side of a tree, and you're like, "How the fuck did you get here? Oh, I'm scared." that's the same thing with these things. They're not themselves. They're not terrifying. Just maybe their actions are what scares you.
Hmm. I mean, to the tone. The tone, like I said, doesn't steer that hard into horror. It's just more like sci-fi action
Mhm.
kind of thing. But I would definitely recommend it to people who enjoy Stranger Things and like
Mhm.
the Animusichetti It films, just because I feel like they kind of have similar tones, and it's pretty funny. Just like those two, like the kids make it for all three of these. The kids are like the funniest part, and you kind of like join them, and you're like, all right, we're gonna do this together. So it's I don't know. There's something about that I really like. To just we're all thrust upon this. Fuck it, let's do it, and make stupid references and whatever. Just have a good time. I don't know. There's something very real about that I appreciated.
Yeah, and it kind of makes me. Had any of you guys seen The Kid Who Will Be King?
No.
No,
Yeah.
I've heard of
Yeah,
it.
I really wanted
Yeah,
to see that, and then especially after seeing this, it's because it's Joel Cornish's follow-up. It's his second movie that he just made last year, and it's basically King Arthur but with kids, and like seeing after
Yeah.
watching how well he had like the kids interact and they felt like real kids, and like Alan, you're saying it's like that Stranger Things thing. I want to see like Things but King Arthur, and I feel like that's what and it stars basically Andy Serkis's main or his son is the main character. He's like Kid King Arthur. So I'd be really
Really,
interested
that's
to see
his
that.
son?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Oh,
like,
dang.
yeah. So,
And Patrick Stewart too is Merlin.
oh well, there you go. Like I really
Yeah.
like
Oh,
after
shit.
seeing this, I
It is-
really got to see that movie now.
It is a really good movie. Like, yeah, in that movie, I do agree. I know. I'm the only one that has seen it. The kids do make that movie. It is a very like unique way to bring King Arthur story, that like into modern day. And I do definitely recommend that one. It came out, yeah, like you said, last year. It's just it also is
wow.
kind of like a pretty low budget film, like nothing big. It takes place in one small town.
Yeah, this is another
But
one of
yeah,
the
I
movies
do.
that like this one didn't do well didn't do well financially, but did really well critically.
Because it has like a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's just throwing it out there, but like, yeah, I mean, like I said, there was a cult following for it back in 2011. Like I remember a bunch of my friends at the time, we were always referencing it. We were always listening to KRS-One, like, just blasting whoop whoop, the sound of the police and all that. And like, yeah, like there was I think if it had a bigger release, I think it would have been a lot better. Like theatrically, it would have done better. But like I said,
I wouldn't be surprised if they have like a special like 10-year anniversary, might possibly re-release kind of thing, especially with the growth of John Boyega's fame and
Jodi
and, like
Whittaker's
the
as well.
exposure of him, and Jodi Whittaker, and the exposure that he'll hopefully continue to get, like with his future roles. Because that's when I pretty much heard this like a bit more was when John Boyega was cast as Finn in the Star Wars movie. Yeah.
Force Awakens.
Yeah, yeah, and I would definitely recommend it too, especially if you like I very much do Nick, like those kind of like Edgar Wright. If you like Edgar Wright stuff, because this guy's kind of a friend of Edgar Wright. Like he's co-written a couple of things with them, and it does have that feel of like kind of like Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz or something.
That's what I was thinking when I saw it. I was like, "This is Shaun of the Dead." And I go, "It's just like, yeah."
It's the same production company, obviously Nick Frost is in it, so like he's friends with all those guys too. So it does kind of have that same kind of like British kind of like very like Edgar Wright-esque vibe.
Yeah, I mean,
I
I agree.
also
If you like Shaun of the Dead, you're gonna probably like this movie. It's a little bit less. I want to say maybe less on the jokes compared to Shaun of the Dead, because I feel like that was a lot more humorous.
Oh yeah.
But I think this one tends to lean maybe a little bit more in that the kind of actiony adventure part of it. It seems like, but they still have humor. I mean, like it still has humor, still has that stuff, but it just maybe feels like this one's a little bit more serious than Shaun of the Dead. But if you did like those movies, you're gonna like this one. I mean, it's pretty much the same. Because when I started watching, I hadn't said anything, but I saw it and I was like, I didn't want to say it because I didn't want to go that route to be like, it's just like Shaun of the Dead, because that's what a lot. I mean, it is what it is, but that's what I felt like when I saw it. I'm like, yeah, this is like Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz. I like those movies, but I'm just saying it's kind of essentially the same thing.
Yeah, I mean that's not a bad thing for me. I love both those movies.
And if you want to see a movie where basically like these group of kids are like taken in by a boxing ring owner, and kind of like slightly reformed. I would recommend The Gentleman because and Franz, the guy who plays Dennis, is in that too, and basically they played the same kind of like kids that are from that area. I don't know. I don't think it's called. I don't know.
I thought you were gonna say a kid
Like
in King
Chad?
It's
Arthur's
like
Court.
South
Something like
London kind of.
South London. Yeah,
Yeah.
South London.
Yeah. No, it's
like,
it's very similar
kids.
characters. And Colin Farrell is like their
Colin
trainer
Farrell
or
is,
whatever.
like, yeah, the king
It's like these are good
boxer,
kids.
but
These are good kids, all right. You gotta give them a chance.
yeah, one part of The Gentleman is this group of boys, and they're essentially that.
Yeah, it also
Really good.
If you like Guy Ritchie
Make a really
movies,
good rap video.
yeah, it's a very very Guy Ritchie movie, The Gentleman.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I thought it was a lot of fun when I first saw it, and then rewatching it, I showed it to my girl, and she coincidentally said the same thing. She's like, because I was trying to explain it to her, I was like, well, it's like, and she's like, it's Shaun of the Dead with aliens, and I was like, with Stranger Things kids, yes. And I was like, then you got it. And she's like, oh, okay, I'm in. So yeah, I mean, if that sold it to her, then I think I might sell it to a lot of people, and
Yeah.
hopefully it gets a little more traction now that John Boyega and Jodi Whittaker are huge now with their with their success. So yeah, maybe if they do a re-release, I mean, who knows with the current situation, but
I mean, they
it'd be
do
really
it.
cool.
Hell, they do it for Back to the Future and all the other movies. Like, why wouldn't they do it for this one when it's its time?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, like I
back-
said, like a 10-year anniversary
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing. I don't know when that is. I don't.
It'd be like in a year.
should be like next year.
Yeah, it should be like,
When,
and
that's when
hopefully,
we'll start to actually have movies again.
hopefully,
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It is so fucking weird. I haven't gone to the movies since last year. It feels so strange.
Yeah.
it's been normal for me. I have kids, so you don't always get to go to the
Yeah.
movies.
Last movie I saw was
Last movie I saw.
Onward, I think. Like early March.
I didn't get to see Onward. Yeah, let me see.
Yeah,
I
shit.
saw,
was the
I
last
saw it
one?
on Disney Plus.
I think for me it was Sonic.
Sonic, yeah,
I think
want to say
Sonic
Sonic
was
was
my
like
last
Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh no, wait. What was it? No, it was probably Rise of Skywalker. I think that was the last.
Yeah,
one
I
saw.
didn't watch Rise of Skywalker in the theaters.
Mine was Sonic 6 months ago. No,
Yeah,
not
mine
6
was
months
that-
ago. February.
I want to say Sonic.
Oh,
was
then
the
it
last
is Sonic.
one.
Then yeah, it is Sonic. Fuck.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And
Yeah.
it should win an Academy Award for being such a good Sonic movie.
Well, I mean, it's not gonna have much competition. Jim Carrey's gonna win that Academy Award.
I hope so. He deserves it. Best Dr. Robotnik ever.
The Academy Award for Best Dr. Robotnik ever goes to Jim
Yeah.
Carrey.
Just like Highlander won
all the previous voice actors for Dr. Robotnik are like, what?
the fuck, dude, are you serious? And we're like, yeah, that's it, man.
Yeah, well, any last words?
I mean, I think that's it. That's a good,
I think yeah.
short little fun, interesting movie with some deeper stuff in it.
Mm-hmm.
I made it through this whole podcast without saying bruv.
Bro,
Well, now we have it. God damn
best
it.
believe, bro.
Just believe, bruv.
The man's not hot, man.
Trust.
You guys gotta understand the man's not hot.
Man's not hot, bro. Not at all.
Man.
But yeah, well, all right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for listening.
Yeah. I think you can find this movie at Island Records, right?
Island. What
Yeah,
was that, bro?
Island.
Island.
You mean Island?
It's not. It's Island.
No, you mean Island.
No. Now you're trying to tell me that it always says some shit. It's just like, no, it's Island Records, bro. Just believe. But yeah, no, yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for listening. Hopefully you guys can check it out. Yeah, this film, it's on Prime, but I think you have to rent it. And then Derek, you said it was on
Pluto TV.
Yeah, Pluto
Pluto
TV.
TV.
Yeah, I
Pluto
saw it for
TV
free.
with ads.
Yeah.
Which
There you
isn't
go.
bad.
Mine's Mads.
It's not bad, man. To watch it for free. Why
Yeah.
not?
Pluto
I think we
TV.
should. I think
You
we
can
should
also
try-
watch. You can also watch the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Yeah.
The movie that we just. Is that one
Last
going out
week,
before this one?
last time, yeah, that's
Yeah, it was the previous one episode.
Yeah, the previous
so-
episode is also on there on Pluto. If you guys want to watch that one for free, you guys
Yeah.
can go check that podcast out also.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think we're gonna try and do a. I was gonna actually bring it up to you guys. I think we'll try and bring it up because I know we always talk about it and we're always trying to be like, where is this movie? Where can I find it? And it's like Oh, it's on this one. So I'm like, now I think we're gonna try and tell you guys as well, the listeners. Like, so if you do want to go out and watch it, even if you already seen it or not, we're gonna try and be better about telling you. So yeah, Pluto with ads for free.
If we can find where you guys can find it for free, we'll probably let you know.
Yeah,
but most of the time,
we can. But if not,
most of the time it's like,
you're
you
gonna
know,
have to
your
buy it
typical
or rent
places. Yeah, buy it or rent it is most of the time what you're gonna have to do with those.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. Again, we're the Undercast Company. Thank you for listening to Underrated. And you can find you can find us over on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Check us out. We'd really appreciate it. And yeah, again, I'm Alan. It's Ariel.
Hi, thanks for being amazing.
There's Fred.
What up, later, people?
And Derek.
See you in the middle of the life.
All right, thanks so much, you guys. Take it easy.
My name is Ariel Ortiz, and have you ever had an experience in public where you've accidentally outed yourself as never having seen a movie that is considered a staple to pop culture or cinema? So have I. To remedy this and possibly unshame ourselves, my friends and I are going to discuss well-known movies where one or more of us have never watched on You've Never Seen, a new podcast from the Undercast Company. You'll hear what we have to say after our first viewings, first impressions and all. We'll discuss anything from cult classics to Oscar-winning movies. So whether you've seen a million times or are cinema virgins like us, come hear us nerds after we've finally seen it. Subscribe to You've Never Seen today wherever you listen to podcasts.